Karibu kwenye chaneli ya Dr. Mlelwa Lectures. Tunafundisha masomo ya sayansi, yani biology, kemia, physics pamoja na mathematics kwa syllabus ya Tanzania kwa level za O-level pamoja na advance. Usisahau kusubscribe na kubonyeza alama ya kengele ili uweze kupewa taarifa kwa kila video ambayo tutakuwa tunarusha. Lakini pia waweza kupata notes pamoja na maswali au kafanya discussion na wanafunzi wenzako kwenye grupu la Dr. Mlelwa Students. Bonyeza show more kwenye sehemu ya comment na utaziona linki za magrupu ambazo utafungua na Telegram. Kama unatumia kompyuta utafungua na Telegram desktop au utafungua na Telegram application kwa simu yako. Ukitaka kupata masomo mengine yaliyofundishwa, bonyeza icon ya kwenye channel, alafu itatafuta. Baada ya hapo nenda kwenye playlist, itakuletea topiki. Utachagua topiki unayotaka kusoma na utaanza kuangalia video bure kabisa. Nikutakie kipindi chema. Welcome back friends. This is the Advanced Biology and this is session 50. So we are continuing our discussion, and in today's discussion we are going to start a gland by gland discussion on discussing about endocrinology. So today we will start with the hypothalamus. We will discuss about its anatomy, where it is located, and what is its function in the endocrine system and the body as well. Now, what we are saying that the major center in the body for coordination of the nerves and the endocrine system are the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland. So we have these two parts of the brain, which are hypothalamus and the pituitary gland. These, they tend to coordinate nerves and the endocrine system. Kwa hiyo, the only part of the body which is involved in coordinating nerves and the endocrine system is the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland. All of these, they are part of the brain. Now, the hypothalamus play a dominant role in collecting information from other regions of the brain and from blood vessels passing through it. Hypothalamus play a role in collecting information from the brain, different parts of the brain, and from the blood vessels passing through it. How does this function? We'll discuss some of the aspects here, but some of the aspects we'll discuss them in other topics. This information passes to the pituitary gland, which by its secretion, directly or indirectly, regulates the activities of all other endocrine glands. Now, some people, they say that hypothalamus is a master gland. No, the master gland remains the pituitary gland, but hypothalamus, it regulates the master gland. So above the master gland, which is pituitary gland, we have hypothalamus. I don't mean the anatomical position, but I mean in terms of controlling. The hypothalamus is the master, but I mean pituitary the master, but hypothalamus is like a manager. It's like in school, unaweza kuwa una headmaster, then ukawa una manager. Manager akawa anafanya management ya vitu vyote in school, kwa ili master akawa anafanya control some of the activities ambazo zinaendelea pale shuleni. Kwa kilichopo ndo hata hapa ilivyo kwamba hypothalamus yenyewe iko kama iko juu ya pituitary. Pituitary inaitwa master vile vile. However, the hypothalamus in terms of controlling, it is above pituitary. Now the hypothalamus in anatomical position, it is located at the base of forebrain, immediately beneath the thalamus. Kwa ndo maana inaitwa hypothalamus. Hypo means below, then thalamus, and above the pituitary gland. It contains several distinct regions of nerve cell whose axons terminate on the blood capillaries terminate in the blood capillaries in the hypothalamus and the posterior pituitary as shown in the figure below. Unachotakiwa kujua ni kwamba hii hypothalamus inahusika na vitu vingi. However, for our level tutasoma tu vichache, lakini inahusika na vitu vingi. So in this diagram, this is taken from our biological science book. For a clear diagram, you can visit biological science book. kama unavyoona kwamba hizi ni neurocirculatory cells za hypothalamus, lakini toka hapo tunakuwa tuna posterior lobe of pituitary gland, then tuna anterior lobe of pituitary gland. Kama ambavyo unaweza kuona kwamba tukitoka kwenye neurocirculatory cells of the hypothalamus, some of the neurocirculatory cells, they are connected directly to the posterior lobe of pituitary gland. So here we don't need the blood vessels to transport the chemicals from hypothalamus to the posterior lobe of pituitary gland. So chemicals produced from the hypothalamus, they are carried directed by the nerve fibers to the posterior lobe of pituitary gland. However, if we want to send the hormone to the anterior lobe of pituitary gland, we need the portal circulation here, portal system or portal vein. When you are talking of the portal system, tutaenda kusoma vizuri kwenye transport, lakini tunaposema portal circulation is any circulation which connects two organs and none of them is the heart. Kwa tukiwa na connection between heart and the lungs, it is not portal because one among these two organs is the lungs. Tukiwa tuna connection pia between other two organs, lakini kama tu one among these two organs is the heart, it is not portal. Na ndio maana hapo unakuta one among the, two common examples of portal circulation ni hapa ambayo iko hapa kwenye hypothalamus na pituitary, pituitary portal circulation, na inaitwa hypothalamus hypophyseal portal circulation, na ile nyingine ambayo iko kwenye liver na intestine inayoitwa hepatic portal vein, inayo carry blood from the intestine to the liver. Kwa unakuja kuona kwamba chemicals hapa lazima ziwe released first in the capillaries of hypothalamus, then they are carried by blood to the capillaries in the anterior pituitary gland. And here these chemicals, they cause the release of other hormones which are carried again by the blood to the other parts of the body. Kwa hiyo that is the generalized structure. More detail about the hypothalamus hatuwezi discuss kwa sababu ya level yako ya kusoma. Hatuwezi kuanza kudiscuss about the nucleus present in the hypothalamus. Hizo zote kutokana na level yako kusoma hatuwezi kudiscuss. Now hypothalamus consists of neural tissue and it is connected with the anterior lobe of pituitary gland by hypophyseal portal blood vessel. Hypophyseal portal blood vessel ndio ambayo nikuonyesha hapo juu, and with the posterior lobe of pituitary gland by axons of neurocirculatory cell. Kwa unaona connection between the hypothalamus and the posterior lobe of pituitary gland na anterior lobe of pituitary gland zimetofautiana. Anterior lobe is by hypophyseal portal blood vessel, while posterior lobe is by axons of neurocirculatory cells. From there we are saying that the neurotransmitter at the tunasema kwamba the portal vessels and axons pass through the stalk to the pituitary. Kwa kuna stalk hapo ambayo ina allow the passage of blood vessel and neurons. All nerve cells release a chemical substance, a neurotransmitter, at the terminal synapse, but neurocirculatory cells are nerve cells that developed the circulatory capacity to higher level. Hizi tunasema hapo kwenye hypothalamus, hizi neurocirculatory cells zenyewe zina uwezo wa kusecrete kuliko normal synapse. Kwa hiyo hizi neurocirculatory cells, they have a higher level of secretion. Chemical substances are produced in the cell bodies of these cells and packed into granules or droplets before being transported down axon by cytoplasmic streaming. At the end of the neuron, these cells synapse with the capillaries and release their secretions into the blood when stimulated by the nervous impulse passing down the axon. Kwa hiyo unachokuja ukiona ni kwamba tunakuwa tuna a blood vessel hapa, na hii hapa ndo neurocirculatory cell. Kwa hiyo kuna nerve impulse ikizistimulate hizi hapa is cell, Hapo tunakuwa tuna neurosecretory cell body, kuna neurotransmitters zinazotoka huku na zinashuka. Kukiwa kuna nerve impulse, hizi neurotransmitters zinashuka, and then hizi neurotransmitters zinakuwa packed hapa kwenye vesicles as usual. Lakini sasa kukiwa kuna nerve impulse ndo zina cause release ya hizi neurotransmitters kwenda kwenye nini, kwenye blood. So hormone released from neurosecretory vesicles into the blood stream. Hii hapa inatokea kwenye both, kwenye anterior na kwenye posterior. Kwenye posterior maana yake ni zinatoka huko kwenye hypothalamus zinaenda kwenye blood stream the posterior. Lakini kwenye anterior maana yake zikitoka hormone kwenye pituitary zinaenda wapi? Zinaenda kwanza kwenye hypothalamus portal blood vessel. Pale ndo zinaenda kwanza zina release the hormone, and then from there hormone is carried by blood to the anterior pituitary gland. So this diagram is also taken from the biological science book. Na kama unavyoona hapa tumeweka dot kwa sababu gani? The length of the axon cannot be as short like this. Kwa hiyo hapa is just the demonstration of what happens, but the actual length of the axon cannot be short like this. Kwa ninachokisema ni kwamba the hormone of hypothalamus influence the functioning of master gland, which is pituitary gland. So master gland is pituitary gland, but hormones of hypothalamus, they influence the functioning of pituitary gland. Hence hypothalamus is often called the control center or the supreme commander or control center of endocrine regulation. Many physiological activities such as hunger, thirst, sleep and temperature regulation. Hunger ni kuona njaa, thirst kuona kiu, sleep usingizi, pamoja na temperature regulation are regulated by nervous control through nervous impulse passing through from hypothalamus along neurons of autonomic nervous system, giving involuntary reflex control of these processes. Kwa hypothalamus ndio inayo control hivi vitu vyote. And unaweza kujiuliza kwamba kivipi? Kuna different mechanism ambazo zinahusika, lakini hypothalamus inahusika. Kwa mfano, tunapozungumza sleep, kuna one among the gland which is also located below the brain. It is called the pineal gland, and this pineal gland, it secretes the chemical called melatonin, and the melatonin, secretion of melatonin is what stimulates sleeping. Kuna kuja kuona kwamba pineal gland ndio inayohusika kutengeneza melatonin, lakini before we have pineal gland and before we have melatonin, simaanishi before kwamba kuna wakati hazikuwepo, no, na maanisha kabla pineal gland haijafanya kazi, hypothalamus ndio inayo stimulate pineal gland. Kwa hypothalamus ndio inayo control now sleep, now fanya hichi. Kwa hypothalamus ndio inayo control pineal gland, ndio inayo control secretion of melatonin and hence sleeping cycle. Kwa ninachokisema ni kwamba hypothalamus ina regulate function nyingi, and most often it is by reflex action from involuntary nervous system. However, the control by hypothalamus of endocrine secretion lies in the ability of hypothalamus to monitor metabolite and hormone level in the blood. A metabolite is any molecule that is taking part in the metabolism, such as glucose. Kwa hiyo hypothalamus yenyewe ina uwezo kucontrol metabolite kwenye blood, now especially here it is not a hypothalamus actually, but it is because there are some of the receptors, and these receptors they send the information to the hypothalamus, and sometimes these receptors they are present in the hypothalamus itself. Kwa mfano thermoreceptors ambazo zina sense temperature, they are present in the hypothalamus itself, because sense temperature zinapeleka information, hypothalamus yenyewe direct in a sense, and then ina stimulate mechanism za kurudisha temperature kwenda kwenye normal. So vital function of hypothalamus, kwanza it regulate activities such as thirst, sleep and temperature control. Pili, to monitor the level of hormones and other chemicals in the blood passing through it. Tatu, to control the function of anterior pituitary gland. Na 4, it produces antidiuretic hormone and oxytocin hormone which are stored in the posterior pituitary gland. Kwa hiyo some people they confuse this kwamba antidiuretic hormone and the oxytocin hormone they are produced by hypothalamus, but they are stored by posterior pituitary gland. So they are released from posterior pituitary gland, but they are produced by the hypothalamus. They are secreted by the posterior pituitary gland, but they are produced by the hypothalamus. Now, let's conclude by discussing the hormones of hypothalamus. The neurosecretory cell or neurons of hypothalamus secrete hormones called neurohormones, which are carried by portal blood to the anterior lobe of pituitary gland and stimulate the latter to release hormones. Kwa tunavyosoma notice tukisema the latter, manake hapa tumesema they are carried by portal blood to the anterior pituitary lobe of pituitary gland. Kwa hiyo manake hapa the latter ndo nini? Anterior lobe of pituitary gland. Kwa the neurohormones they stimulate the anterior lobe of pituitary gland to release its hormone. Therefore, such hypothalamic hormones are called releasing hormone or RH kwenye abbreviation. Certain hypothalamic hormones inhibit secretion of some pituitary hormone. These are called inhibitory hormones or factors, called IH or IF. The hormones and factors released by hypothalamus and their function will be discussed under pituitary gland. Kwa tutavyoenda kudiscuss pituitary gland. Lakini remember nimekwambia kwenye vital rule of hypothalamus kwamba hypothalamus pia ina produce antidiuretic hormone pamoja na oxytocin hormone ambazo zinakuwa stored kwenye posterior pituitary gland. What are the function of this hormone? We shall discuss them later when we be discussing about the pituitary gland. Thank you everybody. Let me wish you a nice study. Don't forget to subscribe, to like this video and to share the video. I will be uploading more videos on chemistry, biology, physics and mathematics in this channel. Thank you everybody. Let me wish you nice studies. Thank you.